Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's Pound for Pound ATL Live, Scout Team Edition. We are on to week 3. We are putting those 2 bad games behind us. We are now getting ready to board a plane to fly out to New York / New Jersey, because that's I don't know where that stadium is. I know it's somewhere in between those two. But anyway,
somewhere on the turnpike.
That's right, somewhere on the turnpike. I've never been to that great state, so I could not tell you anything about it. Gentlemen, how's y'all's week been? What's going on, guys?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm feeling good despite the 0-2 that we're sitting in right now. And if I must put a little bit more damper on it, 0-7 since last year, lost our last 5. But I'm feeling still good, happy and chipper, just like the Falcons were feeling this week. The coaching staff, when they were doing all their presses, they were still feeling good. No moral victories, but hey, they felt good because they definitely saw some things, some improvements. What's going on, Big Mike?
Hey, man, it's Friday, and I'm not just with any horseman. I'm with the 4 horsemen. I'm with the 4 horsemen on a Friday. We got the Bucs game behind us. We got the Giants in front of us.
That's it.
So, you know what? We got a lot of things to slice and dice, a lot of things to chop with. My boy Jimbo Slice joining us today, so you know the show about to get off 5. So, Big Slice, talk to these people this week, man.
Hey, man. Hey, glad to be here with y'all, man. Feeling pretty good. Glad to see Toby D is happy. I want somebody in that chat to get him fired up because it's Falcon Friday. Mr. Brightside, the hardest working man in show business, Mr. JR, gotta love it. And Mike Dub giving his good old points, man. But look here, Dante Fowler Jr.
Oh,
we gonna get it to that, baby.
Oh,
go ahead with it, JR. Go with it.
Hey, look, he said he feeling like his old self again. So we gonna. I saw a tweet. I think it was from D. Orlando Ledbetter, talking about it was probably the headline of an article. That tends to be what he tweets out. But it said something about Dante Fowler felt like maybe he could start terrorizing quarterbacks again. So let's hope so. Let's hope that the sacking of TB12 was the igniting to that dynamite that we needed, because we need it, man. That up. I'd much rather talk about how we owe him an apology than how we were right about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Same deal with old Izzy Oliver. If he keeps playing that way in that nickel, come on with it. He has made some definite improvements, and give me 2 seconds, folks. Toby, take it away.
Hey, man, listen, like I said, I'm excited. Talk about Dante Fowler. We got 2 tackles over there that look pretty suspect over there with them Giants, Doc. And I think Fowler might have him a little party with Nate Soldier and Andrew Thomas. So I'm excited to see what he possibly can do against those guys. Because, man, I watched some games from last year, the last 3 up to the 2 games this year. And every time you saw those offensive tackles getting condensed in right up to Daniel Jones. So I'm hoping we can get that kind of same feeling this week. So I'm excited.
And I'm gonna tell you straight up, if Dante Fowler is collecting on his bonus, we having a good week.
That's it.
Straight.
That up. All right, I'm gonna take a comment real quick, and then we're gonna get back into our normal.
Okay.
Just because I can't let it slide. It's too good of a response for me. Okay. Blizz818 says, I made a deal with the devil. Give Atlanta a win this week. Devil's response was 1-16. Guess what? Blizz? The devil is a father of lies. Okay, so I ain't worried about what his response is. All right, because he's always trying to talk foolishness, right? So, I've said it before, I'm not 100% sure any of them care about football. To be completely honest, there's bigger fish to fry, but the devil's the father of lies, and I ain't got no time for it. Anyway, all right. So okay, as we have done for the past 2 weeks, we're going to first start off with talking about like injury reports, right? Because that's one thing that can affect the game one way or the other, whether it's us, whether it's them. We'll start with us because to me that's some of the bigger news. Like as we feared over the offseason, and it's already kind of come to fruition, Russell Gage is out. And that was something that we were concerned about with him taking over that number 2 role. Like, can you stay healthy, right? It wasn't as a big deal before because, you were the number 3 receiver. Well, now you're the number 2, and I need you to be on the field, right? To me, a bigger blow is A.J. Terrell. Now, he got a concussion, and generally that right there generally means 1 game missed. So I'm not super worried about it, but it is concerning, that he missed. Now, Frank Darby, who was probably going to be inactive anyway, maybe not. If had he been healthy, maybe he would have been active because of Russell Gage. But so he's out. So that's our 3, which are 2 starters. So kind of keep that in mind. For the Giants, the only one out as of right now is Cam Brown, linebacker. I don't recognize the name, so nope. I don't know if I were to look at their depth chart at linebacker. Cam Brown is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the 3rd string linebacker.
Oh, he's 3rd.
Okay, so no huge advantage there. Questionable. We look like we might get Evan Ingram making his season debut this week, and the same thing with a questionable on Kenny Golladay. Now, they had a bunch of guys who were limited practice, but I don't think anything is going to be like too outstanding. Logan Ryan with a hamstring, you might be able to pick on him a little bit if it's still tender, but yeah. So no real big like advantage, our way their way kind of deal. I know they had a center that was injured, but I think he had been injured already, so they'd already I think placed somebody else like in his place kind of deal. So right now it really looks like these teams are pretty evenly matched.
Yep.
I would edge talent at this junction to New York. Just like across the board.
Right.
They do have guys, should be familiar with name wise, such as Logan Ryan. Well, I know that we profiled Azeez Ojulari here on the channel more than once. He's starting to get his feet under him. Dexter Lawrence, Lorenzo Carter. So, I mean, they got some names, but not necessarily names that has made like a huge impact, right?
Right.
So my early like matchup that I'm really like interested in, and I'm gonna make this statement and then let y'all definitely speak on it is, I finally want to see what our O line looks like against a non-world destroying defensive line.
Right.
So and it looks like, as far as I can tell, that there isn't like this line isn't necessarily world beaters.
Yeah, I do see a problem just kind of on their line, like with Leonard Williams, though. Leonard Williams is probably one guy, too, that, I know we'll touch on that, but he's probably the only guy I would say that, I probably look out for because, definitely not an Eagles line, not a Buccaneers line, to your point, but I'm just looking at the depth chart now, and I'm like, I didn't realize he played for the Giants, too. Like,
oh, yeah.
Well, see, that to me, that should tell you something, right? That you didn't realize that he played for the Giants. So to me, like that kind of speaks volumes to what Leonard Williams, has become, like a solid player. Like so far, he has 3 solo tackles in the 2 games that they like. It's just 2 games. I get it, but that's what his stat sheet shows, as of right now. Now, granted, Jalen Mayfield could make him look like all world. Who knows, right?
Who knows? Yeah,
it's possible.
But this something I said before we really got going on the show is like right now as it stands, Daniel Jones is their leading rusher. So we were making comparisons of like, okay, is this going to be like a Jalen Hurts type situation? Do we need to spy on him? Are we going to notice the spy on him? You know what I'm saying? But is this a game where Saquon Barkley gets back into form? And I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that, because that seems like a relatively Falcons thing to do is let Saquon Barkley get rolling again.
Jimbo, take it away, man. I know you got the thing you want to get off your chest.
Well, I mean, we don't want Saquon to get his get comfortable and get confidence going out into this season coming off that injury. We don't want it to start this weekend. So if they can spare us another weekend, I'll be grateful for that. My concern is the linebacker core versus they tight ends, right? JR said Evan Ingram was questionable, but he's coming back. He's coming back this week. Kyle Rudolph is another one that could possibly touch us. Now, the past 2 weeks, we don't have problems with the tight ends, and it ain't looking good with Evan Ingram, which is a good athlete. He just stay hurt.
Right.
If he can stay uninjured, the guy could make some plays. And I'll say a healthy Evan Ingram is better than a Goddard or a Zach Ertz, in my opinion. So I'm hoping our linebacker core, who we thought was going to be a super strength to this defense and this team coming into this year, but there's some stuff that's been going on, and the boy just don't look like the strength of the defense to me. And I don't know about y'all. I kind of asked y'all that in the group text other day, and y'all were like, "Yeah, Jimbo, you kind of on the right path, saying you own something. They not looking as good as they supposed to be looking." So I'm kind of scared of that tight end group versus our linebacker group. But let's hope our linebacker group show up and show out this week, and this could be a game where they can get them started. Besides Saquon getting started this weekend. Anybody, Mike, you want to touch something?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. This game is on, I would say, Dean Pease, right? I'll tell you why. Like, we've seen this before 2 weeks ago, right? The better question is, have we learned from our previous sins a little bit, right? Because JR used that word that I was waiting for somebody to use, and JR hit it right on the head. And he said spy. We knew that very first game we had to spy Jalen Hurts. It is a no-brainer. We knew that he was going to run an offense similar to what he had at Oklahoma. It was going to tailor to his. The whole NFL knows what Jalen Hurts' skill set is. Now, you got a quarterback coming in this week, runs the same way as Jalen Hurts. Not as athletic as Jalen Hurts. But again, you don't tackle him, he can get open and he can hurt you, right? The biggest thing I put this on Dean Pease is he has to be able to put his team in a position to make these guys minimally effective. That's going to be on Dean Pease. Because if you look at their roster, you look at our roster, it's almost like we're playing a mirror image of ourselves right now. Right? Yeah. So, my thing about it is, like you said, not having that world-beating line, because I feel like one thing, I knew we were going to lose the game against the Eagles early. When I saw the way Mike Davis got hit by Brandon Graham, second or third series, and that thigh out get put on him, I said they kind of broke our spirit there. So we got to be able to come out on the offensive early, right? So, again, this was on DMPs to me. Toby D, what you got?
Yeah, so Daniel Jones is one of them types of guys, man. This is a copycat league. You guys know that. I know this. And whatever you put on film, teams are going to come against you, and everything that you put on there that was your weakness until they see that you've improved. And Daniel Jones is definitely the right guy to emulate some of the stuff that Jalen Hurts was able to do to us in that first game. That offensive line now, I think we might have an edge there, because when we blitzed Jalen Hurts' offensive line, they picked up a lot of our blitzes. You guys are much bigger, more athletic up front, more experienced up front. Line. Yeah, exactly. So some of those same blitzes that we weren't able to have an advantage on against the Eagles, I think we may have a slight edge there at being able to come up against their offensive line. But you're definitely going to have to watch out for Daniel Jones. I mean, one thing you got to say, this guy has not thrown any interceptions in the last 2 games, and he played against a pretty good Broncos defense. That secondary has really bolstered up over there. and they couldn't force him into any turnover. You coming in this game already 516 yards in with 2 touchdowns already, versus what Matt Ryan is coming in with. Matt Ryan had a good game last week, but the concern for me on that end is Matt Ryan going in with 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions against a secondary that is very familiar with who he is coming into this game.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt on that. Before we keep rocking, Ulysses Ventures done tipped us $5. We appreciate that.
Ulysses,
he says this is a desperation game for both teams, I think. Giants probably more pressure to win, to be honest. Let's win this game and get some people fired. Now, Chris James followed up, says, I'm not for getting anyone fired, but let's win. And that's kind of where I'm at there. But I will say this, as far as that goes, I do feel like, you come away 0-3 and like you're going to have a lot of it's going to be like you can almost discount the first 2 games in a sense. One was against Super Bowl champs. The other one was against a team that had, like, as we've stated, a really good defensive line, really good offensive line. So, and it's the first game. So you can maybe kind of, push those 2 away if you start winning. And it was something that you said at the tail end of the Wednesday night show, Toby, is that this team has run all right around 150 plays. So in these 2 games. And in the first game, as we've charted out, they ran a lot of different formations. So in these 2 games, you've seen a lot of different formations, a lot of different down and distance type situations. So they should really start to be getting comfortable. And if as far as the offensive line is concerned in this game, they don't have as much beef up front. Like you have Leonard Williams, and that's really about it as far as like high caliber player. So maybe this is a game where our offensive line can really start to like impose their will. Because you see you see them want to, and you see it in little flashes, right? But like I said, maybe this is a game that the offense can really start to gel, and because the defense has, even in the Eagles game, the defense has played well in spots, right? They haven't been able to necessarily string an entire game together, but they've played well in like getting 4th down stops and getting, turnovers and sacking quarterbacks, so, we're getting the action that we want to see on this defense. Now we just have to put it together for 4 quarters, right? Obviously, it doesn't help when you're given the short field, but like Dean P said, it don't matter where the opposing offense starts. It's our job to stop them. And that's what I've always said. For anybody who talks about like a team running up the score or whatever, look, it's an offensive job. It's an offensive side of the ball's job is to score. The defense's job is to stop them. So, it's on you. If you don't want
the name of the game,
right? If like what was old Steve Spurrier used to say all the time, hey, stop me then. If you don't want me to run up the score, stop me. And so that's what they got to do. Now, I'm real concerned. Like my biggest concern right now going in is our secondary, because you're losing AJ Terrell. Like Fabian Monroe has been solid, if not spectacular, right? Which is what we figured. Which is what we figured with all these, 1-year signing guys that we brought in. But not just the corners per se, but Mike, you asked an amazing question before we really got going. What are we exactly paying Eric Harris to do?
Oh, man.
Here we go.
Get fired up. About to fire somebody up.
I mean,
the thing about it is, come on.
Like Jimbo, I'm gonna have to lean on you on this one because, like more about secondary stuff and coverages than I do. My brain tends to work better on the offensive side of the ball as far as seeing what you're trying to do and stuff like that. I'm still trying to like really learn the secondary part of the defense. So you gotta tell me, like, what in God's name is Eric Harris doing out there? Is he just collecting a check?
Oh, he's definitely a body that's out there, and why he didn't get no preseason reps is beyond me. Now this is where I get fired up at right here. You held him out like he was somebody. You held him out like he done showed you something that you cannot afford to lose, or you cannot afford to get hurt in the preseason. So you held him out. I said, oh, what? Why is Eric Harris sitting out of the preseason? He must be real. Okay, I can't wait to see Eric Harris then. But then the season comes around, it's almost like you just wanted that body to be out there and you wanted that name to be out there. And I'm going to say something real quick. I would have kept KZ over here. Y'all can blow the chat up all you want. Guess what? I move Isaiah Oliver back there and take him off the field. He's a tad bit late. He's a little slow.
Right.
He's a special team veteran.
Right.
That's what he is. And he is collecting the check, JR. But why he didn't play in the preseason, I have no idea. And I don't know what DPs. What did you see? Because I don't see it. And you run that alley. Run that alley. If you're going to run that alley like a true safety. And y'all know what that means. Come downhill and try to hit somebody. Right. He's not doing that. He's a tad bit late. He's a little slow. Like my uncle you always used to say, he's a dollar short and a day late. I would have kept KZ, to be honest. Maybe this game will help Eric Harris, because I don't see his leadership like leading the whole secondary as a whole. I don't see that.
No, I don't either.
I'm not getting anything
right now.
Out of
Like I was kind of amped about the Deron Harmon signing. But right now, the Harmon or the Harris signing, neither one of them are really doing much for me.
And it's another year of poor safety play. And I think, like, you ask yourself, like, my thing is, like, to that point, though, you know, we ask ourselves, why do we have to work so hard as content creators? You know why? Because they put the same type of product on the field, and we have to find 100 different ways to rationalize why is this
guy on my team.
Where I was mediocre and average, and I don't have to play in preseason games, then we should all go try for the Falcons. Hey. If, like, look, we vets, but we playing average. Well, that's good. You don't even have to play in the preseason. Listen, that's a pretty sweet deal for the amount of money these guys play.
That didn't make no sense to me. The only thing I got out of that is they were holding him because he was doing so good that they didn't want to lose him.
Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe they was holding him because they knew they wasn't trying to expose him early. Kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that too could have been there.
I don't know. All right, well,
I don't know if y'all had a chance to listen to the full Dean Pease presser, but one of the things he did say, which we all knew, they're not good in the red zone defense, ladies and gentlemen. They come in right now 7 of 9 in the red zone right now. And that's one of the areas Dean Pease says he prides himself on, is having good red zone defense.
His pride's hurt.
This team got to get their ish together. Now, this week, they can't.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The Giants are 2 out of 6 in 2 games.
Some got to give.
And getting touchdowns in the red zone. So they don't do well. So this is a week for you to improve against that Giants offense in that red zone this week and feel good about yourself. Hopefully coming away with a win.
Hopefully.
Right.
All right, well, that's our opening salvo, as we like to say. First 20 minutes or so, we get it all off our chest, and then we start bringing in the chat room to see what they got to say. So let's go ahead and jump on in it. Curtis Roberts, Chris Jamison, and Philip Bonner all said good evening and what's going on. What's happening, folks?
What up?
Same thing with Dustin Albrecht. He says, do you think we'll start to win games around week 12 after losing all season like we did under DQ? Oh, Lord. I should have pre-read that statement first. I hope we don't, man. I don't know if my heart could take it.
Man, it's a long ways away.
If that's the case, then there better be some benchings and firings. And, like, I think I said something last year about if this continues, they better fire the janitor. Well, he better get gone too if that's what's up. Anyway, Wound Carter's in the building. He says, rise up pound for pound. Family says, glad to be here on this exclusive Friday night with the family. Let's win Sunday. That is the attitude. Charleston Nash says, I just ordered my Kyle Pitts gradient jersey. He said, I think this week we will see some potential of Ridley and Pitts. Just wanted to stop by and say what's up. Jimmy, how about them dogs? I guess he likes Shohei.
How about them dogs, baby? That's right. Keep them rolling. That's
right. Keep it going. Let's see. Tim D says, what's up, boys? Happy Friday. Good to see you guys. Hey, man, I'm glad you're here, Tim. Jeremy Cole says that was good. I think he was talking about my reference to the the comment about making a deal with the devil. I ain't making no deals, man. I ain't for sale.
No.
Kobe says, we getting a win this week? Save your deal with the devil. That's right. Save your deal. Make a deal with the Father instead. Tasman TV says, what's up, fellas?
Tasman.
I'm glad you're in here, brother. Millie Mills says, Kwame Brown? ? No, it's not Kwame Brown. It was a linebacker. Kwame Brown. Listen to you.
Y'all crazy.
Bliss says he says, was between getting a Ridley or a Pitts jersey. He says that number 8 in all white looks too sweet to pass up. That all white is a good looking jersey. I think they're going with the all white and the black pants. So that's I'm glad to see him kind of mixing up the combination. That's interesting.
JR, I got a question for you.
What about?
How many wins that's gonna help us?
Look, man, look. Hey, if you look good, you feel good, you play good, right?
Hey man, at the end of the day, if you go out there in sheepskins and get us a win, I'm good.
Good.
Now, I don't care nothing about the jersey colors that you're mixing up for the week. I need a win. You understand? Where that W? Hey, what James went to say? We're gonna eat a W. We need to eat a W this
That's
week.
right. Eat that W. Jameis Winston, Lord have mercy.
Feel good, you play good. When Deion said that, he was talking about 1988, 1989 Falcons.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
okay. He wasn't talking about. Okay, I got you.
They look good. It looked good last year. Todd Gurley looked good.
I mean, look. Hey, I've seen a lot of them 21 jerseys floating around. He did what he was brought here to do. I hope he sold $4 million worth because they paid him $3 million. So I hope they turned a profit. That's all I'm trying to say.
Three. I don't know, however many wins we got. A win, $1 million a win. Anyway. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Millie Mills also brought up Deron Harmon, which we have touched on. Fred Butt says Daniel Jones can't throw, will be fine. Well, I don't know. He earned the nickname Danny Dimes. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be sarcastic, but he's been throwing pretty good so far this year. To the tune of 500-something yards in 2 games. So
yes, sir.
You know.
But now that last game against your Washington football team, he did that. Danny Dime name did come up because he did drop a lot of them. The wide receivers made him look bad by dropping the ball. Now, let's not misunderstand that and think that this guy can't put it up there. This is a first-round draft pick we're talking about now. And if a guy is open, he's going to get it to him. They just been dropping the ball on him over there.
Darius Slayton dropped an easy walk-in touchdown.
I
don't see him drop 2 of them like that.
Let's see, Uncle Javon, he's laughing at us. I think because we were talking about Eric Harris. Because Ryan says Eric the Body Harris. I'm not exactly. I'm glad I read.
Jimbo, you know better.
Look, I'm glad I read that because I first read it as Eric the Booty Harris, which might be more applicable.
We have just won any chance of getting this guy on the show if we want to go out.
Look, there's a handful of guys that we could never get on the show because we ain't been very nice. Chris Jameson calls him. He says he's a future milk carton candidate.
What?
We tried to put Dante Fowler on the milk carton, but he showed up a little bit. So
look, Dante Fowler's still on the milk carton. I just ain't ready to cut him off the milk carton yet. But listen, he's talking like a guy that's ready to hop off the milk carton.
There you go.
Give him another week. We'll cut him right off. I'll bring a milk carton next week, and we'll cut him right off. But anyway, sorry.
Javius Murray says, man, let's set the record straight. We should have took Patrick Surtain. If not, talking about in the 4th pick.
Right.
I don't know. I look, at the end of the day, I'm glad we got who we got. I'm not going to rehash all that. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a stud for years to come. Let's see. Falcons Empire says, I think Kyle Pitts should give us a great chance to win this game. See, I think, you want to talk about, matchups that I think we can exploit. I think it's, Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst on their linebacking core, because they play, as Toby, you brought up, with it being Joe Judge, he's brought that, New England style defense, which is pretty similar to what we run. I think somebody commented it was Tony Wright our good friend Tony Wright was talking about.
Oh, Tony.
The Giants also play a 3-4 defense. They have a very big front with All-Pro DN Leonard Williams, Danny Shelton, and Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, it's a good front, but I think it's a linebacking core that you can throw on. Yeah. Now I don't know if we'll ever actually, maybe towards the middle of the season, but I don't know if we'll ever actually get to where we can run up the middle, like on pretty much any team. But Arthur Smith seems to be more of a zone run, obviously, as we have talked about ad nauseum. But this type of front is a front that you might be able to get wide on, with those tosses and the sweeps, and with Cordell Patterson, who potentially might be RB1.
And I can tell you right now, on the other side of enemy lines, he is freshly on the lips of just about every defensive player out there. Logan Ryan mentioned him, and guess who is? Kyle Pitts.
Hey.
How they're going to contain those two guys, and got to be mindful of where they are lining up at every time they're out there on the field.
And I think to that point, that's why I think that the one thing, this will be a good game for Matt Ryan too. Like let's go ahead and put it out there. But when I look at actually another area that's really strong on the Giants that I think that we don't really talk about is they actually have a pretty decent pass rush. I think Ojulari as a rookie, he was a guy, man, I was really high on him. Maybe a little bit of a Georgia homer, but I know that he's going to be a good NFL player, right? And I think Lorenzo Carter, the other guy they got a pretty decent pass rush, but those guys are super aggressive. They got an aggressive pass rush. So I think sometimes to be able to take care of that aggressive pass rush, I would like to see more screens this week. Short game.
Right.
I think the short game is going to be impeccable this week. If we're able to put Hayden Hurst in those one-on-one situations, Kyle Pitts, like I said, I think that is, to me, that's the X factor of this whole thing. Because we might be able to hit a couple deep shots to Ridley, maybe. But I think, to your point, if we're able to get, our playmakers in space, like I said, just get guys open and put them in those yak opportunities, right. I do think we those one-on-one matchups. This will be a week of one-on-one matchups.
I think you got a real killer point there. I think to me what stands out, if we go back and look at if Hayden Hurst not goes off, but if he's involved this week, I think
early.
Right. I think we have a real good chance to win this game. Okay.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that Hayden Hurst is the X factor, but it's a deal where if you can get those tight ends really like body shots, you know what I'm saying? If you can start hitting that middle of that field, and dude, the middle of that field was open, for Washington. Like Tyler Heineke, he made his night on that middle of that field. And so if this is a deal where we can get, Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst going, and you not sprinkle in, but you get your targets to Ridley like you're going to get, and maybe you take your deep shots with Olamide Zaccheaus, because he now moves up into that number 2 spot. And you're going to have it's going to be between him, Tajay Sharp and Olamide Zaccheaus, I think. Somebody in chat asked, it was Kenyon Moss says, what do y'all think about us signing Anthony Rush, 6'4", 360-pound defensive tackle? I'll tell you what I think about it. It's becoming apparent that Dean Pease isn't very happy with Tyler Davidson, because in the last 2 weeks you signed Mike Pennell and now Anthony Rush. Okay?
Yep.
So it's becoming very apparent that he's I need more beef in the middle of my line.
Yep.
And so that's what I think about it. Now the question is, how quick before one of them gets elevated to the actual roster?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I'm keeping an eye on. Like how fast does, because we've heard Pease talk about it in regards to Richie Grant. When he was asked today about Richie Grant's playing time, why we haven't seen more of it, he made the comment that, he's got to learn the defense. Okay.
Yep.
So that tells you on that side of the ball, Pease's mindset is I don't want to throw you out there and watch you flounder. I don't want to throw you out there and absolutely, and it makes sense because you've heard the comments many times before. I'm not going to ask a man guy to play zone or a zone guy to play man. Okay, so that tells you right there that he's not going to throw you out there until he feels like you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and that's what Eric Harris got over some of these guys. He know that he got a mind frame on how to play book. He's a little farther along in the playbook than they are, and that's one of the advantages he's got as a vet.
It's a deal to me where I feel like Dean Pease would rather you be in position than like some guys. Like I've heard coaches say over the years, "Oh, I don't mind if you make a mistake as long as you're playing 100 miles an hour."
Right.
But I've also heard a lot of coaches say, I would much rather deal with a guy who may not be as talented, but knows what he's doing.
Right.
And that could be a situation. And that, like to me, when I bring that up to speak to, like these two defensive tackles, they're eventually going to make it to the active roster, I believe.
Oh,
it's just weird,
so
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as soon as they do, you may start seeing Tyler Davison as a healthy scratch, or
afterthought.
right, or even like a John Kaminsky, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a deal where I think it was P spoke on it talking about like they felt like Kaminsky brought you more pass rush, or Taquan Graham brought you more run stopping, and that like they kind of alluded to that as to why Kaminsky was a healthy scratch this past week. So who knows? Who knows how that is going to play out. Fred Butts wants to know, Jimmy, what do you think we need to do more on defense to get even better? What is something defensively that's standing out to you that you want to see improve?
And I kind of touched on this earlier about our linebacker core. I want to see them cover. I really have to see them be versatile, sideline to sideline, and cover, and do everything we thought they was going to do before the season started, how they played last year. For us to be good, and I know in P's defense, the safeties in this got a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
But the linebackers also do as well. They have not played up to our standards, and they're not even theirs. I'm pretty sure if you ask Deion Jones or Fourier, have they played up to their standard? They're going to say no, they have not. Now, towards the end of that Buccaneers game, like you seen them turn it on kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
You seen Deion, you seen him like, okay, these are the guys that we are used to. Maybe they don't hit that curve and Dean Pease don't got into their head coming out of halftime from last week. Maybe they starting to come along. And if they do, we're going to start to look better and better because this is the strength of our defense. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are our guys, Pro Bowlers, you know what I mean? So I really want to see these guys cover sideline to sideline and just be all over the field and just having fun. The linebacker that we are used to seeing, because we almost thought we had the best. No, we ain't almost thought.
Sure.
We thought we had the best linebacker core almost in the NFL, not in the NFC South last year. We need to see those guys play up the standard and get to playing linebacker, Atlanta Falcons linebacker football like we used to see.
Right.
And Jim, I'm gonna put money in your collection plate because you preaching right now. But I'm gonna stay right on that linebacking core because when we look at the Eagles, Deion Jones, Foyer Luakon, sideline to sideline linebackers. We got a 4.3 40 linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing speed for a linebacker.
Right.
I've heard of speed for a linebacker. We got guys like Deion Jones for games like today. Games like Sunday. If you don't stop a Daniel Jones, right, we're gonna start to look. And here's the problem: if our linebackers, which were the strength or weakness, that's where it's gonna be hard for us weekly to start topping up this defense.
Right.
Like linebackers are all we got. Because you remember this whole look, we spent months and months talking about, man, I bet Dean Pease can't wait to get Foyer Luakon and take Foyer Luakon to the next level. Deion Jones, we signed Jones, we just reworked his contract to make him a Falcon basically almost for life. But what I want to do is see what that equates to in a game like that. Because again, this is a game where we got to unleash Michael Walker. I don't know what they're waiting on, but unleash, utilize the Swiss Army knife that you got. And we're at our strongest when those three guys are on the field.
No question.
Setting the tone about it. And see, a problem that I ran into last week was when AJ Terrell got hurt. Because I'm going to tell you something. we were doing good when AJ Terrell was out there playing he was playing out of his mind. Even when he got that play that he made was absolutely amazing.
Bonkers.
But once he everything else kind of went with it, right? So what I want to do is see the defense. I want to know who got it, who really about it in the second half. You know why? Because when they fell on the field, they're starting to respect him, and they're gonna say, "Well, let me go over here to Moreau. Let me go over here." Now, it ain't no AJ Terrell this week. So, who in the secondary is gonna step up this week? And if it's nobody, we'll talk about that next week. Let somebody.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Now, I'll say this, somebody on Twitter was bringing up TJ Green, because that seems to be the guy who's going to be first up to, take over for AJ Terrell. And TJ Green is a converted safety kind of corner, back and forth. Yeah. He's done a little bit of, dude's 6'2", 220. He's a big dude. He's got that length. So, we're going to see if he can cover, obviously. Now, I'll be real interested to see if they, if this is a week where they use Isaiah Oliver on the boundary. And in that case, you might bring out Michael Walker, is what I'm getting at. Is if you're pushing Isaiah Oliver to the boundary, you might replace that nickel position, because Dean Pease, as we have talked about it, quite a bit over the offseason, like Dean Pease has used a bunch of different people in a bunch of different types of players in his nickel. And if he thinks that Michael Walker gives him an advantage on tight ends or an advantage in blitzing, you might see him out there, which would I would like to see. I'll tell you who I want to see, like holding clipboards, riding pine, whatever analogy we want to talk about, and that's Stephen Means. Because I'll tell you if I don't ever see Stephen Means drop into coverage again, it'd be too soon. Like, I think I even saw Brady's eyes bulge this big every time he dropped into coverage.
Oh, yeah. Especially watching film from the Eagles game where Stephen Means looked like a chicken with his head cut off. Oh, man, he could not wait to see Stephen Means. Now, the Giants cannot wait to see Stephen Means on the field. I cannot wait to see Stephen Means get off the field, me and J.O.
I know, dead up. Like you talk about, I get it. I understand, in a sense, we've seen maybe we're seeing the downside of a Dean Pease. Maybe it's a deal where he's more comfortable with the veterans. But I'd much rather see Ogundeji or JTM out there. Versus Stephen Means, especially if you're going to be dropping them into coverage, then roll JTM out there. Like, he's a lot more fluid in coverage than Means is. So
wait a minute, and while we talking about
hit it.
Somebody from the Atlanta Falcons, just the team is watching. I just want to see if y'all can send us some practice film of what that's in practice that don't translate over to the game. It'd be greatly appreciated, because it's not, again, we get a bad rep because it's like we go hard on some players, but it's like, no, it's the expectation, because it's no different than Isaiah Oliver. Because look, I have no problem giving Isaiah Oliver his praise, but boy, let me tell you something. Him on that outside, with what we he gets what he deserves. He definitely gets what he deserves. You know what I mean?
He is much, and I sang his praises like all throughout the offseason. He is a much better player in that nickel position.
Absolutely,
he has found his home.
And that's what we wanted to see.
Right.
When we got the second round, all we wanted to do was see him be a success. But I just remember the way DK Metcalf blew past him the first last season. His confidence was shot for the whole season after that, right? So whatever he's doing, we hope that builds upon. But see, the problem is with me is when you pay a guy $3 million on a team with 1-year deals where every dollar is scrupulated, right? You know what I mean? Like, we in cap heck right now as a team. So to give $3 million for that type of output is completely unacceptable.
Oh yeah.
Like, unless $3 million and no sacks, we at least need 3 sacks. $1 million a sack.
From who? Stephen Means?
Somebody.
Because Stephen Means ain't finna do nothing for you, player, physically nor mentally.
Right.
I need him to be down. I need him to get kicked down there. and I'm gonna say this right here too. And not trying to be mean or negative about my team. I love my team. Don't get it twisted now. Y'all know that. But when we watch film and this guy jumps off the film, something got to happen, right? And Stephen Means jumps off the film. I am sorry, he got to go. Now, Isaiah Oliver, if he keep playing the way he playing at nickel, I want to re-sign him. I said it.
Yeah.
Y'all, you can
No, I'm with you. Like I am happy with how Oliver plays nickel, and I'm really curious to see how he grows at nickel throughout the rest of this season. We talk about, like, I would be interested in, somebody in chat just brought up Darren Hall's name. He says he's a Rich McKay pick. I don't know about all that. Like, I don't know what would make you think it's a Rich McKay pick, but I'd be interested to see if he cracks, some playing time with AJ Terrell going down. That's another guy. Let's see here. Tony Wright says, Mike, what are your thoughts on their receiving core, the Giants receiving core?
Get it.
You got Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, who's leading them right now, Darius Slayton, and Kadarius Toney. And he says, and John Ross. I didn't see John Ross' name on their depth chart.
Yeah, he on the roster, but he ain't getting much shine. He buried.
He's buried on the roster. Okay.
Yeah, he buried on the
chart.
You know what? Like, one great question, like, straight up good question. But I think, you know what? If there's any week for AJ Terrell to be hurt, I'm probably the most comfortable about him being hurt. But except Evan Ingram. See, here's the thing. The biggest problem I have with the wide receivers for the Giants is that I think their best receiver arguably is kind of similar to us. Like, it's Evan Ingram. It starts with the tight end. Now, Evan Ingram being in the game makes this a different game. His sheer presence is going to make those guys better. So what does scare me is this. Darius Slayton dropped a wide open touchdown last week, right? Now, I do think with Evan Ingram on the field, they're going to get more opportunities to be open. It's just going to happen, right? Because if you throw a ball out there, you throw a TJ Green out there, there's not really a cornerback that we can throw out there that gives them a lot of confidence, right? So I would say this. With a hurt Saquon Barkley, it's the receivers or else. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. I can get going because Saquon is a amazing running back coming off a devastating injury where, again, this is not the Saquon. Saquon doesn't have the burst that he used to have right now. So I would say this isn't a Saquon Barkley that you might see later in the season, right? So we can but back to the receivers a little bit. It's Danny Dimes and all of that kind of stuff. Like, he's going to make some plays. I'm just going to be honest with you. We don't have the secondary out there this week that's going to stop them from making plays. I think our ability, again, if Dante Fowler continues to come off that milk carton and put pressure on the quarterback, it's going to be, this is a Dean Pease game. What kind of looks are you going to throw at these guys that are going to throw them off their game? Because, again, we can't get beat by the same crappy spread look or whatever. But, again, their receivers, if you look at them, are eerily similar to the Philadelphia Eagles receiver. They don't really have a guy that's just like a dog. Dante Smith might be good down the road. But if you don't guard these guys and you don't have proper technique, they will cook you, especially Kenny Golladay. He's been doing it, pretty much since he got into it.
I will say this, like, as far as, like, their receivers go, one of the parts that, like, encourages me just a little bit is the guy calling plays. And that's Jason Garrett. Like you already got Kenny Golladay like jumping in Jason Garrett's crap, and we at week 2.
Yeah.
So like Jason Garrett doesn't, like, as far as coordinators go, doesn't necessarily like strike fear in the hearts of millions. The first drive or two, I didn't get to chart the whole game like I wanted to, but like they ran 2 different formations, 11 and 12 personnel. And every time, mark this down, every time they lined up in 12, they ran the ball. Every time. There was not one, in the charting I did, there was not one single pass. Like, to a point where I was like, oh, that's 12 personnel. They're going to run the ball. They ran it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does he deviate?
Tendencies.
Right. Does he notice that it's his own tendency and change it? We'll see. But, like, even going back to his days in Dallas, like, what made you think Dallas was a formidable offense was their offensive line. And, early years Ezekiel Elliott, late years DeMarco Murray, right?
Right.
But that was all played off of that offensive line. You had to worry about the run, and then that opened up deep shots to Dez Bryant. Okay, it's well documented that pretty much the only route Des Bryant ran was a go route. So,
Right.
just hand up. Hand up. Because,
That's it.
So, as far as play calling goes, it's not very inspiring. And that can also lead to like a hero type ball from Daniel Jones, feeling like he's got to do it all himself, so to speak. So we might be able. What I'm getting at is like we might be able to bait Jones into some of those throws. You do have a more experienced, defensive coordinator, guys who are hopefully starting to understand what the assignment is and where they're supposed to be. So maybe he can start getting, creative himself.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask a question, pose a question to you guys. Let's just focus on us for a second. Like, we talking about these guys, and again, for as much as it is about them, it's as much about us. Yeah. I want to see from number 2 this week. After the last week, up and down week, good, some bad. All right, this is the week where it's real. Horrible game, up and down game. What do y'all want to see from number 2 this week?
I'll start it off with that. What I want to see is him start to, whether it's there or not, I need him to start trusting that line. I know the line has been horrible. I know it has been. But there were times in that Bucs game he had time. Mm-hmm. And I need him to start seeing it. I need him to start seeing that he's got time. Like, I know there's going to be, like, instances where he's not. But there were 19 passes last week that he got, snap ball and threw it in under 2 seconds. You're not reading anything when you're doing that. Quick. You see what I'm saying? Like, you ain't reading nothing in a second. I'll throw this pen at your face and you ain't going to read it in a second.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, what I want to see is even if he takes some sacks, I know that sounds weird. Like, even if he takes it in the, gets hit in the mouth, so to speak, I need him to start going, okay, I'm trusting what they're calling. I'm trusting what they're seeing. Because right now, and I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks, right now, he looks like a 14-year vet who's seeing ghosts. Mm-hmm. Which has a different look than a rookie seeing ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
But he definitely looks like he's a 14-year vet seeing ghosts. Toby, what do you want to see?
I want to see 0 interceptions.
There you go.
It's very concerning when you have a 14-year vet go in 2-3. Give you 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions going into this game. I mean, trust me, neither team is going to be intimidated by either team going into this game. The Giants are going to feel like they can win just as much as the Falcons are going to feel like they can win. This offense is going to feel like for the Falcons that they can get an advantage on that defensive front, just like the offense for the Giants is going to feel the same way about our defensive front. So nobody's going to be intimidated by anybody, but I want to see us go in there and take away any confidence that the Giants might have going into this game early. Because if you go in there and you can attack this team early, you will kill anything that they're thinking about from a confidence standpoint going into this game and making them realize, yes, we have continued to improve off of what we did last week. And you guys are still in the same boat of not improving from what you did the week when y'all played the Washington Redskins. So that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Jimbo, what you got?
With me, it's funny because I kind of already done seen it. And it was the end of that game, he was chewing some butt.
Right.
That leadership aspect. Mm-hmm. I kind of already done seen him chewing some butt, chewing some tail, cussing some people out, getting in their face, and letting them know this is how I feel. This is what you need to do. Now, he's not perfect. JR, you call that 2 seconds, throw that pen at that face, you ain't gonna be able to read nothing. He's gonna have to trust the process. But what I seen already towards in that game, that Bucs game, that was a turning point, fella. I think that was a turning point. Like, I know he don't listen to the outside stuff because if he did, he'd have been lost his mind.
Oh, yeah.
He would be in a psychiatric ward. He'd be with his hand tied around his body. When I seen him chew out that line, I felt good. Mm-hmm. It ain't nothing. What me and Matt Ryan got going on, it ain't nothing about what he got going on the field with me. It's more of leadership and just being vocal. And when I seen him chewing some booty out, I said, oh, God, this is it.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Matty.
Right.
And next week, do it again.
Yeah.
No, not in the game, but practice all the way up. They get wrong, you get them right. Now, twofold now. Jake Matthews, if he's not trusting the process, say something to Matt.
Right.
We need accountability for the players, and they need to police each other.
Yeah.
That's what I get, and that's what I love that I already seen. He's already doing it. Week 3, I'm with it. I'm fine with that. Let's keep that ball rolling. That's what I want to see.
That's all I'm asking you, Jimbo.
Yeah,
get in that butt, man.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Because the reason why I asked that question, man, all great points. I think the thing about Matt Ryan that I want to see this week is I want to see urgency from the first second the clock strikes. I mean, first second.
Yes.
The problem I see is it's almost like an old car sometimes. It takes a long time for the car to get going. I push the start Matt Ryan. I won't push that car and Matt Ryan is ready to go. Because I'm going to tell you something. 14 years, it matters. 14 years matters in marriage. It matters in a lot of things. You put 14 years in anything. By the time somebody asks you about it, you need to be the subject matter expert.
That's right.
You need to be the CEO of it. You know what? Like I said, Matt Ryan always get the CEO. I'm the CEO of the team and all that kind of stuff. Very corporate responses. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you punch a CEO in the mouth, he gonna come back and fight you.
Right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Look,
if you punch a CEO in the mouth, he's gonna have a bodyguard fight you.
And guess what?
He's gonna have somebody get you.
Offensive line.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Protect your CEO. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like I said, if Matt Ryan come out and when Matt Ryan, every now and then Matt Ryan had that look in his eye where he just don't care no more.
Oh yeah.
Y'all told me off. I don't care. And that's the Matty Ice that I like. You know why? Because that's the Matty Ice to be like, yep, you still saw me throw for 375 yards. Like, and he has that confidence, right? Because when Matt Ryan is at a point where he's throwing like that, then that we just gonna all smile. And when we see, because for example, how excited did we get when we saw Matt Ryan complete that first 20-yard pass to Kyle Pitts? It felt like, oh wow.
It's like, all right, then, let's do this.
For that, we need to get back to that's when, you know what, for that little short time frame before the last 7 minutes and 49 seconds of the fourth quarter, fun again.
Right.
I would run to the TV at 1:00 every Sunday and say, let's go team.
That's right.
So again, you got to step it up. We won't push the start, man. We want the old school Bonneville Cutlass Supreme sitting in the backyard that take a long time to get going. We need push the start, Matt Ryan.
Right.
We got a comment here from John Davis. He says, that's easy to say, JR, when you're sitting in your lazy boy. First of all, I ain't got no lazy boy. I'm going to throw that out there. I ain't got no lazy boy. He said, watching the game, it's different when you're laying on your back all game. Ryan has been taking a beating for years. Look, I've been saying it for years. I've been saying he's taking a beating for years. I get it.
And
I understand.
You can look at the numbers.
Right. Look,
the numbers will tell you that.
I'm about to say, I have quoted till I'm blue in the face that, for the past 3 years now, he's taken more than 40 sacks a year.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's only been 1 year in his career that he's taken less than 20 sacks. So, yeah, I get it. I really do. That's why I bring up the concept of it looks like a 14-year vet who's seeing ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
It's true.
And that's dead up. Like, I don't claim to be any kind of expert. You can look at me and tell I ain't never played a down of football in my life. Like, I have a real high self-preservation gene. Okay? I don't get around sharp objects. I watch when heavy things are falling. You see what I'm saying? Like, I try to stay unharmed is what I'm trying to tell you. So, like, it wasn't until later in my life that I realized I liked football. Like, I liked the chess match, the analytics, all that. I don't pretend to know how to play the game. That's why when I have questions that I have, we do what we do by bringing on like quarterback coaches or bringing on salary cap guys. Like when we don't know, we try to find out.
Absolutely.
And that's right. That's why I got Jimbo Slice on here. Who the man who's actually played in the secondary. Same thing with Mike, playing ball himself. Like, I ain't never played, but that's why I'm intrigued by the people who have, right?
Yeah. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. No disrespect, but Matt Ryan needs to take heed to what he being taught. You went in speed training, bro. They've been talking about this speed training you've been in all season, and we've seen it on clips, okay? Matt Ryan, why you not doing enough of it? You won't be on your back if you do more of what Charles London them telling you to do. Number two, they've been practicing sidearm throws all season, bro. Why do you practice sidearm throws? Because people putting their hands up, batting your balls down, taking them in the end zone, pick sixes. Right. This sounds like a Matt Ryan that needs to work on the technique stuff that they are teaching him to do, and they doing that for a reason because they know this stuff gonna come up. And you think the Giants for 1 second is not gonna be doing what they just saw the Bucs do in this game? Copycat lead, baby. You got to get them sidearm throws going this week. So I'm not gonna go with all that laying on his back. That's fine. We see all that. If you run the ball a little bit more and throw them sidearm throws, you can take care of 2 birds with 1 stone. Period.
That's it.
And to the point, play better chess. It's a chess game, man. Look, talk about the way you play chess. Make more strategic moves, and we want to talk about the way you play chess. Period. That's the way it rolls.
Look, like, straight up and down, like
you want to play armchair quarterback. No, because again, you know what? And don't make me make JR and Toby D pull out the charts, because this ain't something we just walk up and do. It's chart. You got negative plays, positive plays. You got analytics. You got statistics. You know what I'm saying? Because let me tell you something. In the words of Jay-Z, men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Numbers don't lie.
No, I mean, but that's the deal. It's like, but I do appreciate the statement. Like I do appreciate, making the statement, because we can fall into the trap of, oh, well, I know what's supposed to happen. Like, look, I ain't never called a play. I'm really not very good at Madden. I've tried,
I suck at that.
Yeah, right. So, but I do, like we do what y'all do, in the sense of we're all fans trying to figure out, like, how our team is supposed to get better. Right?
We're on the same.
And we like to have a conversation about it. So we're going to keep right on rocking. We done bumped up over an hour, so I'm going to read a few more and we're going to get out of here. Millie Mills says, can we just see Mike Davis play better? That's something you just brought up. This could be a game where you start to get that, like, start to be able to lean on that running game more, like what you want to be able to do. You can see him want to do it.
This is a crucial game, man. Like, week 3 is real crucial.
Jeremy LaBelle says, I was screaming, "In your face, Brady," when we came back and made it a 3-point game. Exactly. So, especially after that 2-point conversion. Yes, definitely. Like we were all hyped. Now, B Strong says, JR would make a good QB coach. No, I would not. Because my advice would be like, don't throw picks. Look, y'all ever play, if y'all ever go bowling with me, you going to hear it at least once or twice. I'm going to walk up to you and I'm going to tell you, look, all right, new strategy. Don't throw the ball in the gutter. That's the new strategy. I would not be a good quarterback coach, because all I'm going to do is point out the obvious. You see that guy over there? He's got a different jersey on. Don't throw it to him.
Don't throw it to him, yeah.
That's my strategy. Don't throw it to that guy. Let's see. Millie, hold on. Rose Stockton says we need to use Pitts down the seam as well. They definitely need to get Pitts involved more, and I think you're starting to see that. Like, he had 73 yards. He was actually targeted more than Calvin Ridley last week. So I think you're going to actually start seeing him get more involved. Let's see.
And this Giants defense has shown favoritism to the tight ends too. So this defense will allow tight ends to get loose.
That's right.
So Pitts might get his first touchdown this week against JD Martinez, which is cannot guard a tight end to save his life.
He ain't never been able to guard a tight end. And
he can stop the run though, but that's it.
Right. I mean, Matt Ryan picked on him when he was with Green Bay. So they should he should be familiar there. Tony Wright says, true that, Toby, because former Bulldog Ojulari and Carter are coming after the QB this weekend. I mean, they coming. Everybody's gonna be coming until they show they can't. Until they show they can stop it. Let's see. Tony Lambert says, why haven't there been more rollouts and bootlegs? I mean, maybe the game plan dictates that kind of stuff. I'm not 100% sure why you haven't seen more of it, but I seem to think that as the year goes on, you're going to see that offense expand more.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Like I've already seen a handful of routes that we saw like them use in Tennessee. So, I feel like it's going to start happening. Khalil Hunter says Mike Davis and Wayne Gallman show. I wonder if this will be a week where Gallman gets active.
Could
We
be.
keep saying it just hasn't happened yet, but it could be.
I mean, because I find it real sketchy that we keep running in, like going into these games with only two backs.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll be interested to see, especially with Gage out. That's something I just thought about.
Ooh,
like with Gage out, you may be starting to use like Patterson more of a slot role, and you might be wanting like Gallman in there more. So
yeah,
good.
That thought just kind of hit me just now.
That's a pretty good thought there. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons and me says if the Falcons don't win, I'm gonna have to call MC Hammer and tell him to perform bumps in pump.
Pumps in the bump.
Okay, yeah. Look.
That's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Please, no.
Over my head, gentlemen. I am too legit to quit, and I am hammer time.
Yeah. You're not missing nothing with the pumps. You ain't missing nothing.
Look, when Hammer was famous, like my parents were still bumping country music, and I hadn't broke out of that just yet. So, like I knew the Too Legit, and I knew the Hammer time.
Break your heart.
Yes, sir. Achy break your heart. That's right. You know, Chattahoochee and all that good. Anyway, y'all don't care about that.
That's why I listen.
Anyway, sorry, that's over here cracking myself up. Tony Wright says, question for Toby. He said, I'm really concerned about the matchup of former first round. Okay, he put this up earlier. I'm glad you redid this. He says, former first rounder Caleb McGarry versus Leonard Williams. Williams is straight up dog, and should McGarry get some help? So what are your thoughts on? Do you think that's a matchup they're going to try to exploit?
So here's what I have been loving about the offense: the way they've been using these tight ends in blocking game. We've seen Pitts is starting to get better with that blocking, y'all.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he blocked up JPP pretty good on that one play, and he been springing guys open on the run game. So I do look for them to get help using these tight ends, Lee Smith and Pitts, who's getting real good now at blocking. That was a knock on him coming in. If there was any weakness he had, blocking was an issue coming in, but he was always showing he's a willing blocker. Right. So I do look for them to help Caleb McGarry over there on his side from time to time, because they've already been doing it. They've already been pitch them over.
Yeah, there. I mean, definitely wanted to, give you the opportunity to answer, so to speak. But the one thing I thought when I read that question was like, Arthur Smith has shown he's very willing to help out his offensive line.
Yeah.
Offensive line. That's what I was fixing. Offensive. Anyway, English good today. Offensive, like he's shown the willingness to help out his offensive line. Like unlike last year, he ain't trying to leave nobody on an island, so to speak. If he feels like he has to, he'll run that 13 personnel. He'll run out an extra lineman. You'll see Spriggs in there, from time to time. So, yeah, I think he's very willing to help out whoever needs it in that sense. Let's see. Murgod. I don't know what that means, but anyway, it says, peace, fellas. Let's get the likes up. Well, the likes are at 28. We appreciate it. And he said, I'm just not able to tune in. Oh, well, that's all right. Hey, we're glad you popped in for a minute.
Hit button, check us out again.
That's right. And let's see. All right. Okay, somebody was asking about Josh Gordon and then also John Brown. I don't know if Josh Gordon really like what he brings to the table.
I don't want no, not in Atlanta. You don't want Josh Gordon in Atlanta.
Nope.
Like I was thinking about on the field. You over here talking about.
Oh, okay. Well,
don't even go on the field, JR. See, I'm not ready to go on the field with Josh Gordon. You ready to go on the field with Josh Gordon? Off the field, I don't think it's a fit, and I won't go into further detail why, because I don't know the ages of the people listening to this show. But I will say that John Brown might be worth it.
John Brown. I can take it, John Brown.
I just think that you know what you're getting with John Brown.
Right.
Seasoned guy, you know what I mean? I think he can help this team immediately. But the problem is this. If we didn't sign John Brown this past week, we got to win this game. Because here's the thing. You might not be able to get John Brown next week if you don't win this game, right? You know what I mean? So
somebody said in chat, I think it was B Strong, said he heard that maybe the asking price was too high. I didn't see that nowhere, but I mean, there's a reason they didn't see him, sign him. So
this type of offense we run, they're being proactive instead of reactive. They just want to make sure if there is a possibility and they do need them. I think they feel very strong about the game plan that they have for this team, that they're not in no rush. They feel like Tajay Sharp and Olamide Zaccheaus can handle the game plan and who they are. They are ball. Let's face it, fellas. I mean, I know people don't want to admit it. They don't like it. We are a ball control offense who likes to control the clock and get guys in space and let them do what they do and utilize Arthur Smith's expertise in getting down in the red zone and scoring. We finally saw that in week 2.
I will agree with Khalil Hunter here, and I want y'all's opinion on this, and this will probably be one of the last ones, and we'll start wrapping it up. But he says outside from Frank Darby, which I don't know if I agree with that part. We haven't seen enough of Darby to really label him. He said, but outside of Frank Darby, the Falcons wide receiver core lacks physicality, and that's something that I have thought myself. Like, the wide receivers that we have seem to be more like finesse receivers. Like, we're lacking a Mohamed Sanu style receiver. But I think as the year goes on, that's where I'm surprised it hasn't manifested yet, but that's where I think a Hayden Hurst comes in. Like, that's why I thought that, like, I felt like it was going to be better for Hurst than it has been in the past, because I think that he could provide that physicality that we might be lacking. But I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that.
Man,
y'all go ahead.
Quick for me, I think I agree. I think there's not a guy there that outside of Kyle Pitts that I think is capable of punching in the mouth. Right. Now again, Calvin Ridley will punch you in the mouth kind of with his feet a little bit. He's a.
I mean, he'll make you look silly. I don't know if he's going to punch you in the mouth, kind of deal.
Right. Matter of fact, he's a slider. That's his name, Slide Ridley. Right. He's a slider. That's exactly what he does. He knows his role. He knows how to do it. But I think you're right with that guy that plays for the Titans that's no longer with us anymore. We don't necessarily have it. Tajay Sharp. I mean, you kind of don't know what you're getting out of that guy. Zaccheaus is maybe kind of a gadgety guy. Blake, you know what's funny is I think Christian Blake is the scrappiest receiver that we have. I'm going to just go straight up, because every time he come in the game, he ain't the biggest or the fastest, but he got the most heart, right? So I think if what we don't have is physicality, but we do have some guys that they going to give it everything you got. And I think sometimes that's all you really can ask out of a receiver, but I don't know what you guys got.
Hey, look here. No, man, ain't nobody physical. All of them slim. Everybody's slim and built exactly the same. They look exactly the same almost to me. If they all stood up beside each other with no number on their jerseys, you couldn't tell them apart. It seemed like they all slim, they all 6'2", and they don't want to block nobody. I said on that, and I'm going to kind of go towards last week, and I need to stop living in the past. But that pick six with that stock route that Russell Gage ran, I thought was so nonchalant. He didn't attack the ball, and he was backing up and allowed the DB to jump there. And that really hurt me. And I'm not feeling Gage. I'm really off of that train. I don't understand. I don't think he can carry that workload as a two. He haven't showed me anything. I don't think he got no heart. Now I'm a CB13 fan, but that's jokingly because that's just my favorite guy I've been knowing for a while. But at the same time, as far as just a physical Hines Ward, like punch you in the mouth, knock somebody out, drive somebody into the ground, and make people pay at the wide receiver position. We just ain't got that. We're gonna have to find it, because once you get in that division, it like we just seen, you can't have no nonchalant, no finesse and wide receiving core, because boy, I'm telling you, them DBs is gonna handle that, and it's gonna show real good too.
It reminds me of the sound clip that we heard, and I wonder now, like thinking about it in a different context when Arthur Smith told Gage, you a physical receiver now, not a finesse receiver.
There you go. Oh man, that coming to
like
now,
we didn't get to see the rest of the context of that. That's the sound bite we heard. Like it sounded like, oh, he's pumping him up. Good job, you did. But it may be a deal where he was reminding him, look, dude, you're the like when you read the description of the number 2, which is the wide receiver, they're supposed to be, the more physical receiver.
Yes,
like
sir.
in your prototypical offense. So maybe that's what that context was.
Good
Yeah,
that's
a great point. It's been circulating around Matt Ryan under throwing the ball to Calvin Ridley, but Calvin Ridley was trying to do a pullback technique.
Right.
Julio Jones has done it numerous of times, but Julio Jones is a more stronger physical presence when he's snatching that ball back over the head of the defender.
Right.
Calvin just wasn't able to do it. I mean, because that's not in his wheelhouse to do those types of catches. And I'm hoping that Matt Ryan does not test him to do that again and leave that out of the arsenal, because I don't. Ridley's not that guy. He's a guy you get in space and let him do what he do.
Right.
And that's who he is. And yeah, to you guys' point, we don't have a physical receiver. Now, I do agree with Frank Darby. Frank Darby has physical presence. Yeah. The problem is the calf injury. So he hasn't been able to show anything and be inactive. He hasn't been active on the field in order to show that physical presence. Right. But I think that's one of the reasons why they drafted him, because he emulates what Arthur Smith would like in his guys. And a lot of touchdowns they scored was straight off effort. Like them guys would be stopped, dead cold stopped in Tennessee. But Corey Davis and Brown would just boom. They're like running backs. They would just carry you on in there because they wanted that touchdown. They were hungry to get the touchdown, whether you was on them or not, and they was getting it.
Well,
and we don't have those guys.
Right. It may be like, maybe we'll start figuring it out in a sense, as far as that stuff goes.
I hope so.
All right, well, I mean, that's it. Like, at the end of the day, I think we got a good matchup against the Giants, and I'll be interested to see how this transpires. Now, go ahead and like kind of a public service announcement. I'll be on vacation next week. I'm still going to try to do the show, depending on what our internet situation looks like, where we're going to be. So, but if I can't pull off the live stream, the guys will have y'all covered with like pre-recorded content. So we won't leave y'all high and dry, but we'll definitely not 100% sure what it's going to look like next week, because I don't know what the internet situation looks like where we're going. That's always, it says they have internet, but you don't know, right? So anyway, that's it for today. Y'all can always catch me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Jimbo?
You can catch me on Twitter at Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA. And Falcons, don't make the Giants look no better than they did. Please.
No doubt.
Big Mike.
Hey, man, follow your boy Mike Doug, MIKE_DUB. And listen, let's keep MetLife quiet, right? That's a place, listen, I'm going to tell you something. It's a couple fan bases that I like to keep quiet. I think the NFL is better when they quiet. The Giants are one of them. Please, let's not.
There you go.
And the chill. Toby D, take them off.
It's Toby D 1991, and I'm saying the same thing you guys saying. Do not allow the Giants to have this game to be their breakout party.
Right.
Let's keep them boys contained. Let's let them improve another week after.
Right. Exactly. Mr. CDX for Life says he's going to be at the game on Sunday, so hopefully you can talk some trash, CD. But as always, Falcons fans, just win, man.
Just win.
Please.
Please just win.